Call this meeting to order. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this meeting. And at this time, I would like to give the opening to Councillor Damien Penner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Go, Canada, go.
Yeah.
Currently, we are right in the middle of the Winter Olympics, and with just under a week left for Canada to go for gold. The Olympics, and as a proud Canadian, specifically the Winter Olympics, is an exciting time that harbors a sense of national pride, unity, and optimism. We, as Canadians, get to watch the pinnacle of human ability on showcase for a once-in-4 years opportunity for these athletes to have the lifelong bragging rights of being an Olympic champion. And as a nation, we unite behind the Maple Leaf, and regardless of the athletes' views, political associations, religion, or race, we cheer for them simply because they are Canadian. Well, I am currently in my glory, spending far too much time in front of the TV, on my phone, a tablet, sometimes all three, all at the same time to immerse myself in the spectacle that is the Winter Olympics. It gave me pause to consider our national unity. Canada is not the same country it was 10 years ago, and 10 years from now, it will not be the same country we live in today. Demographics change, governments change, and even what may or not be socially acceptable changes. That is a reality of the world we live in, and the fact that change happens must be accepted. We do not always have to accept the particular change is for the better, but denying that it will happen is a fool's errand. One thing that we can never change if we want to continue to see our nation grow prosperous is our national pride. I'm admittedly not familiar with the current social studies curricular, but coming up in school, we were all taught that Canada was a cultural mosaic where different cultures from across the world come together to create a beautiful country working in harmony towards the greater good of the nation. A mosaic where each beautiful culture represents a color, and only when they are all stitched together working in unity can you stand back and see the beauty that the mosaic is. While I still believe that working together towards a common goal is our nature as Canadians, we can do better. Let's do the Canadian thing and accept each other's differences, but more importantly, focus and celebrate all the things we have in common that creates the whole mosaic, and unite behind the Maple Leaf as a nation. In 2000, Molson put out a now famous commercial that you may remember titled, "My name is Joe, and I am Canadian." It was a tongue-in-cheek shot at Americans for the purpose of selling Canadian beer. But it really doesn't get more Canuck than that, cracking a cold one and taking some cheap shots at our neighbor. It was a commercial that talked about what makes us Canadian, with lines like, "I speak English and French, not American, and I pronounce it about, not about." And "I don't live in an igloo, or eat blubber, or own a dog sled." And how about this gem? "I don't know Jimmy, Sally, or Susie from Canada, although I am certain they're really, really nice." Beer, the great uniter of a nation's people. Well, the Olympics is an international event that brings the world together, and I hope that this momentum of national pride continues beyond the extinguishing of the Olympic torch. I was also touched last week when I saw, during the Tumbler Ridge Memorial, for the tragedy that occurred there, the leaders of all the main political parties holding hands in solidarity for the families and the community. They put aside their partisan ways and looked at each other as a Canadian, and nothing else. That is what it truly means to be a Canadian. These moments of national unity cannot be once every 2 years during the Olympics or when a national tragedy occurs, but need to be daily and intentional. It all starts with each of us taking ownership of the great nation we live in and doing better each day with the way we interact with others. We need leaders in business and politics that put the value in building relationships regardless of the differences. We need to elect individuals that focus on collaboration for the Canadian good and not division to appease a certain group of individuals. Canada needs to embrace relationship-driven leadership again and work across lines to get the results we need so our nation can bring home the gold on the world stage again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Penner. And just to add to your story, another thing that brings Canadians together is definitely hockey. And there was a post out, and the question was asked, do you want Canada to win 10 gold medals or take home the gold in hockey? It was overwhelming, take home the gold in hockey. So I think that's our ownership, that's our sport, but that's the sport that brings us together as Canadian. Okay, thank you very much. Council, we have the agenda in front of us, looking for a motion to adopt. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Siemens. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Council, we have the minutes of February 3rd, 2026, regular council meeting in front of us. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Swykstra. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Councillor, is there any business arising from the minutes? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. At this time, I'd like a motion to excuse Councillor Bill Hebert. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Hebert. Call for the question. Those in favor? That is carried. We are at just past 7:35, so we'll open the public hearing and close the council meeting. Council, we have a public hearing for the CU 2026-02. This is referring to Unit 8, 110 Industrial Road. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is file application for conditional use under file CU-2026-02 for Unit 8, 110 Industrial Road. The owner of the property is 101-34593 Manitoba Ltd., with the applicant for the conditional use being Kyle Bialy and Moni Lowen. Purpose of the conditional use application is to permit the operation of a retail sales business in Unit 8 on the subject property. Under City of Steinbach Zoning By-Law 2245, all retail sales are a conditional use within the M1 Light Industrial Zone. Notices as are required under the Planning Act have been issued. There is no written correspondence on file. With respect to the application, the current applicant has previously applied for a conditional use application for 2 units immediately adjacent to the subject property. When council had been presented with this file previously in 2022, City Council approved retail sales uses in the neighboring units 9 and 10 on the subject property. Administration has not determined or become aware of any negative impacts to the neighborhood that could result with the proposed application. It is recommended that should council choose to approve this application, that it be subject to the execution of a major occupancy agreement, the approval being being applicable exclusively to Rock Eastman Inc. as the occupant of Unit 8, and that council's previous approval under file CU-2022-04 be rescinded upon Rock Eastman vacating its current occupancy at Units 9 and 10, 110 Industrial Road.
Thank you, Mr. Worthing. The applicant is here today, taking the podium. Do you wish to speak?
Yes, I do.
Okay. State your name and your address, and then continue.
Shauna Dirksen, 49 Trappers Bay in Labroquerie, Manitoba. And just really nothing has changed in terms of our use, in terms of our plan, just that we were able to downsize from 2 units to 1, saving some rent, given our charity status, helpful to cut our costs in terms of renting space and all the utilities. So really business as usual, just downsized to make operations a little bit more efficient and direct our funds into more programming and less rent.
Okay, sounds good. Any questions of council? Go ahead, Councillor.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. You've gone from 2 units to 1. That means you lose 5 parking stalls.
We do.
Where's parking?
We've never had issues with parking. Our sales generally function Friday evening and Saturday and Sunday. Generally, that area is not congested with traffic. We have good relationships with all of our neighbors. We communicate to them. We've had no issues with any parking issues.
Thank you. Through you, one more, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. Through you. You also realize that you will no longer have occupancy permit in 9 and 10, right? That
Yes.
will be
Yeah.
terminated?
Yeah, and our lease agreement will be terminated for those 2 units. It has been, and so we have a new lease agreement with the landowner for Unit 8.
And it's a conditional use only.
Yes.
Right. Thank you.
Anything further of council? Go ahead.
How many retail days are you expecting?
We have 4, so we were approved previously for 4 sales per year. Those run Friday sort of evening between 4 and 8, and then most of the day Saturday and Sunday, so nothing will change. Those, so really 12 days in a year for those book sales.
And always on weekends.
On weekends, yeah, always on weekends, yeah,
Less traffic at the other units.
absolutely, yeah, yeah.
Anything further?
Thank you.
Nothing of council? Okay. You can take your seat. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? I will ask again. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? I see none, but I will ask one more time. Is there anyone here with comments, questions, or objections to this file? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing, open the council meeting. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Siemens,
Motion to approve.
second by Councillor Swagstra. Go ahead, Councillor Siemens.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a application by Rock Eastman, who have been here before in 2022 regarding putting a retail space. The reason it's called a retail sales business is because of the 12 sales days they have for their book sales when they raise dollars for their volunteer activities. Mostly it's used as a storage facility and a sorting facility. And so all the other days of the year, it is that. So I think for me, it makes sense to continue this relationship. And also it's a conditional use only as far as Rock Eastman Incorporated is using the facility. Once they no longer use that facility, then that conditional use on that particular unit no longer exists.
Anything further, Council?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think the important thing to note is that obviously there's been a lot of debate in council, as there should be, on the question of allowing retail in the industrial park. It is a conditional use, meaning that we look at these things on a case-by-case basis. What is significant is that this debate already happened a few years ago in allowing Rock Eastman to use units 8 and 9 for the purpose of their book sales. And since that time, we've not received any complaints. I'm not aware of anyone who's raised any concerns. We obviously don't have any neighbors that are objecting, and they're actually looking to downsize as opposed to upsizing. And so if anything, the impact would be less than what there currently is. And so considering that they already have the ability to use these 2 other units as retail, and that this would just simply move it over by 1 unit, since it's been operating the last few years, and that conditional use has been approved, it makes sense for us to approve this conditional use subject to the conditions here, most notably that units 9 and 10 will no longer have retail allowed because Rock Eastman will be in unit 8 instead.
Okay. Anything further, Council? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When the original request came in for conditional use, I voted against it. And when I'm looking at this application today, I notice it's just moving. Council already has okayed it, the previous one, so it's in. They're just moving from one place to another, and as Councillor Schweitzer said, it's into a smaller unit, so I've got trouble to objecting to this one.
Thank you. Anything further of Council? Anything in closing?
No, sir.
Go over the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. Council, move on to reports and recommendations of city manager. We've got 8A. This is 2025 Steinbach Annual Traffic Count Program. This starts on page 14. Mr. Working, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not quite sure how much to summarize. It's a quite lengthy report. Suffice it to say, the city has contracted with WSP Canada or its predecessors for at least the past 20 years in doing annual traffic count analysis within the city of Steinbach on both the PTH 12 and also the PTH 52 traffic corridors in Steinbach. This year's traffic count review was conducted and looked at 20 specific intersections along those traffic corridors. That is noted in the introduction of the document. Further on page 15 of the document and 27 of Council's agenda package, there is a summary as to the observed peak hour traffic volumes that were counted at these various intersections in Steinbach, with the most heavily traveled route being at the intersection of PTH 52 and PTH 12 or Main Street, reaching nearly 3,500 vehicles per hour. That is significant, and the overall year-over-year growth and long-term growth of traffic has tended to follow a general pattern of increasing over the several years that the city has conducted the study. In addition to overall traffic counts and the identification of trends, the traffic analysis also looks at traffic movements at these various intersections, both signalized and unsignalized. And what this information or what this research does provides the city with valuable insight and trending analysis to determine which intersections are prime candidates for no action, and more importantly, which intersections are prime candidates for further action or improvements to address the overall volumes of traffic. As I mentioned earlier, as the city of Steinbach grows, the overall level of traffic activity in Steinbach, and especially among its main thoroughfares, has increased over time. At the end of the report, there are summaries as to some of the trends that were observed, and more importantly, the consultant has indicated a few recommendations for the city to consider at some point in the future. And again, these recommendations are exactly that. They aren't must-haves. However, based on the actual observed conditions and the activities, these are recommendations that administration does take into account every year as it recommends capital programming to City Council for consideration. But for example, and very briefly, and it's found in section 4.3 of the report, it indicates the three main recommendations. Firstly, that MTI has initiated plans to implement traffic signals at the intersection of PTH 52 West and Giesbrecht Street in 2026. That was an intersection that had been recommended for signalization in several previous reports, but as that physical project appears to be now imminent, there are no further comments related to that. Secondly, the consultant recommends that traffic volumes and operations at the intersection of PTH 52 and Lund Road be monitored or continue to be monitored going forward as traffic movements there to a degree indicate that perhaps signalization could be considered there. However, that is subject to further review and consideration of City Council in the future. And finally, the report suggests that the timing plan on PTH 12 North at Clear Spring Center and Gulf Air Road, PTH 12 North at Park Road East and West, and PTH 12 North at the Superstore and Co-op access could see improved operations and improvements in critical movements by adjusting the timing plan and the splits. And that would be subject to further analysis along with MTI, who is the authority who manages all the traffic signalization in Steinbach. Other than that, unless there are some questions of council, that concludes my comments on this report. And recommendation is that council accept the report as presented.
Okay. When Mr. Working, the recommendations that were made in 4.3 that you just highlighted, do you want council to approve the recommendation by motion that we go forward and that we advocate for what needs to be done in this area?
At this point, no. They are presented more for general consideration by city administration and city council. It would be subject to further considerations and perhaps budget funding. At this point, the previous report presentations to council, council has accepted the report generally and just forwarded these recommendations to administration for further analysis and consideration when future projects are being recommended to council for funding considerations.
Okay. Well, I do believe that the first one with the 52 West and Geesbrecht Street, the signalization there, that was first, I think, recognized in 2021. And now we're 5 years in, 2026, and we still don't have signal lights there. I think that one's very important. I think we need to follow up on that one and put some pressure on highways to get that done, because that is just, it's a problem area, and there's a lot of vehicles coming in from the west, coming in every morning to work, and it really causes congestion in that area. So that's a big highlight for me. I'd like to see that one really worked on. And the timing, that makes sense. We got people, we want to move people, and then the highway's there to move people in and move people out. And right now they're stopping at every light. I think those are really good things to follow. By receiving or accepting, you want to accept by a motion though?
Yes, please.
Okay. Council, then I ask you, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Schweikster?
Motion to approve.
Second by Councillor Hebert. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to note that on page 9 of the report, it actually tells us how long we've been doing these traffic counts, since 1997. So happy 29th anniversary of our traffic study. I think this is an example of the foresight of past councils, because this started long before any of us had ever run for council, of having this done annually. We have data that we're able to present to the province to show that our growth does merit improvements to our intersections. And we've seen a lot of changes over the last 5, 10, 15 years, a lot of upgrades. The most recent one, and the most significant one, of course, is the new intersection that we have at PTH 12 and Lowen Boulevard. I do want to point out that in regards to the recommendations here, these are important. I completely agree with you, Mr. Mayor, that we need to advocate to the province to ensure that the lights actually do go at the 52 West and Geesbrecht Street intersection. This has been promised for years, and the province keeps moving that. And so we need to remind the province that that they've made a commitment to put those lights in, and those traffic signals need to be put in. And so I do think we need to follow up there. I certainly do agree with monitoring the traffic volumes at the intersection of PTH 52 West and Lund Road, because we need to see what the impact of our new intersection is. Like obviously we need to see how traffic patterns change now that we've fully upgraded PTH 12 and Lowen Boulevard. I also agree with we need to ask the province about adjusting the timing of the lights along PTH 12. It's a point of frustration for many of us over many years that the lights never seem to be properly synchronized. And now that we've done these upgrades along Highway 12, we should be able to get these synchronized. At least I would certainly hope so. So I think it's good that we do this study. It gives us data, it gives us evidence, and I think this really helps us with advocating for the improvements that we want to see. So I'm really glad that councils from years ago started this, and I think we should continue with these reports.
Thank you very much.
Anything further? Thank you.
Anything further, Council?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with all those comments, and we have talked about Geesbrecht and 12 for a while already. One of the things I always look at on this report is the amount of traffic coming into Steinbach and the amount of traffic leaving Steinbach, because I always get that, why isn't Steinbach building a bypass to help with the traffic? But we see, in these reports, we see every year, when we do these, we see traffic comes to Steinbach, it doesn't go through Steinbach, so a bypass doesn't make sense to me. The other thing is, this is always done in September or early October, this traffic study, and we're always under construction. The last quite a number of years, we've been under construction, one of the intersections. And we always say, oh, next year, we're going to get a true traffic count because we're not going to have any major intersection under construction. Well, next year, hopefully, Giesbrecht and 52 is under construction, but there will be limited ones. I'll get that. And so it is important that we review this and we share with MPI for different projects. Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Looks, it could be important.
Yeah. Let's just wait, see what it is.
It's the province, they want to upgrade.
Yeah.
Hey,
They're
52.
calling now, they're serious. Starting tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay. Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nope.
Okay. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 8B. This is Lift Station 1, Forest Main Twinning. This is the tender award. Mr. Warkentin, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council has given direction to administration to proceed with the tender process for the Force Main and Lift Station projects that have been proposed for Park Road West in 2026. The tender for the Park Road West Force Main project was issued several weeks ago with the tender for this project closing February the 5th, 2026. 5 bids were received and recommendations from the city's project consultant, Associated Engineering, is to award the bid for the Force Main component installation of this work to Southwood Ventures, Inc., which was the low bid. The installation of this force main along Park Road West is part of the a larger project, as I said, involving also involving improvements to Lift Station 1 and improving and expanding the pumping capacity for the city's gravity sewer system. The recommended tender award, which is for the amount of $1,494,661.05 plus applicable taxes, is below the engineer's estimate for this component of the work, with at least 50% of these project costs to be provided via a grant from the Manitoba Water Services Board. Recommendation from administration is for this bid to be awarded to Southwood Ventures, Inc.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Council, would you like to proceed? Councillor Penner,
Motion to approve.
second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Penner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is no secret that we've had some drainage challenges in Steinbach in the past couple of years with 2 major rainfalls that have caused extensive flooding across the city. And so this is a small part of amping up the capacity our lift stations have to run water through our city and get it draining more quickly. This is only one project. I know, Council, we've also been talking about other projects that we can do to alleviate potential flooding again. So this is a good first step, and I'm happy to be able to make the motion for it. As you know, as we all know, this flooding has significantly impacted the neighborhood I'm in.
Thank you. Anything further?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is a low tender that came in just under $1.5 million. The engineer's estimate was $2.4 million. So this is a substantial savings to the taxpayers, partnered with the fact that we have a grant for a portion of this. This is one of the aspects of the larger project that's going to be along Park Road West with increased pumping capacity at the lift station as well as facility upgrades with a total project estimate of 7.4, but it's good that the first tender on this larger project came in under budget, so hopefully we can see the savings on the rest of the tenders as well.
Anything further of council? Anything in closing?
Nothing further.
Yes, council, this has been a project that's been on the books for a long time, and I'm so glad we're doing it because this will increase capacity for the entire city. This is something that will help every property in our city. It'll facilitate more growth. And this is the one component. The other component is the lift station upgrade. That will also increase capacity as well. I think those are 2 projects that need to be done in tandem, and really looking forward to getting them both done this year. So call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We'll move into administration. We've got 9A, accounts payable, back of the book. We've all had a chance to review, looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Penner. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 4451, 2025, 9210. This is referring to 905 Main Street. It's by resolution. Mr. Worthing, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The file number you quoted is the subdivision application file number, the 905 Main Street in Steinbach. The application for subdivision has been submitted by June Asen on behalf of the registered owner, 102254445 Manitoba Limited. Purpose of the subdivision application is to subdivide the subject property from a single lot into 4 parcels. The subject property is designated as residential policy area under the city's official community plan and is zoned RRS, which is Rural Residential Service, pursuant to Steinbach Zoning By-Law 2245. There is public sewer available for all of the newly created lots, with the existing house on the subject property currently being connected to the city's gravity sewer system. It is recommended that council approve the application under this subdivision file, subject to the execution of the development agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Council, how would you like to proceed?
Motion to approve.
Second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead, Councillor Hebert.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The applicant here is requesting a somewhat complicated subdivision in which they're dividing a single lot into 3 new lots plus the resulting 4th lot that's there already. On this one, I want to make note that MIT has indicated that there'll be no new approaches that be permitted along Main Street, so lots 3 and 4 are required to have a shared driveway. Then other than that, the size of the lots meet our zoning bylaws, so I'm in favor of agreeing to this one.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Anything further of council? Anything closing?
Nothing, thank you.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Council, we have 9C, the building permits for January 2026. That is on page 86. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Swagstra,
Motion to approve?
second by Councillor Hebert. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad to have support on the building permits. Just over $4 million in building permits issued in the month of January. That is a good start for the year. January is typically one of the slower months because, of course, this is in the middle of winter. And 1.7 million in residential and basically a variety of some single-family dwellings, finished basements and such. And then, of course, we also have commercial and industrial at 2.6 million. And things such as warehouses and storage and all that. And of course, each one of those adds up. And so I look forward to seeing what happens in 2026. 2025 is a strong year. And with just over $4.3 million in building permits in January, I think we're off to a good start.
Anything further?
Nothing further, thank you.
Anything further of council? Anything closing? Nope. Council, I agree. 4.3 million is a good start for a cold January. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have the business tax and 2025 small balances cancellations. Council, this is more of a housekeeping item that we do this every year. These are some businesses that either closed or moved, or there's write-offs that have happened. So it's just a matter of acknowledging these and writing them off the books. Looking for a motion to approve? Councillor Susan Penner, second by Councillor Siemens. Any comments?
No.
Well, call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We have 9E, this is the realty tax cancellations. So these two, we're just making a motion to make our books line up. It's housekeeping. Council? Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Councillor Hebert, second by Councillor Penner.
No
Any
comment.
comments? Call for the question. All's in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We've got 9F. This is Rezoning By-Law 2253. This is referring to 40 First Street. This is the third reading. Mr. Workstein, could you please introduce this file?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one moment as
Been a while since we've seen this file.
it has been a while. I just wanted to bring up details, but that is correct. Bylaw 2253 was considered by council at the public hearing several months ago. The applicant has continued to provide administration with the required documentation and information so that the file can be brought forward. That has now gotten to the point where a development agreement has been prepared and has been signed by the applicant. As such, all of the conditions that are required for this rezoning application have mostly been completed. This now brings us to this step where recommendation from administration is for council to give bylaw 2253, which was rezoning the subject property from RLD residential low density to RMD residential medium density to complete third reading. And recommendation is for council to do so subject to the execution of this development agreement.
Thank you, Mr. Workstein. Council, how would you like to proceed? Councillor Siemens,
Motion to approve.
second by Councillor Penner. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a application to build a multifamily unit on the corner of First Street and Giesbrecht. This is a unique building. We don't have one of these in Steinbach currently. The building takes up majority of the lot, and the parking will be directly under the building, but it won't be an enclosed parking. It'll be so the 3 stories will be elevated with parking underneath. So we haven't seen one of those before in Steinbach, but this is a multifamily, and it fits on First Street with a lot of the other multifamily that we have. It's close to Industrial Park, closer to walkability, and this is the third and final reading, so we can maybe move this project ahead.
Anything further?
Yeah, I concur. This project fits in with the neighborhood. There's been a lot of redevelopment on First Street, which has been really nice to see. This is also a really efficient use of land with having the parking under and the units on top. So I'm looking forward to seeing this project go forward.
Anything further of council? Anything closing? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Got 9G. We've got business licenses. We've got two pages and a little bit of business licenses. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Penner, second by Councillor Swykstra. Go ahead, Councillor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. These are annual renewals of businesses that either operate within Steinbach boundary as non-resident, or are residents operating businesses out of their homes, not necessarily needing commercial space. So this is them doing their due diligence and getting licenses from the city to operate those businesses.
Anything further?
That covered it.
Okay. All right. Anything further of council? Closing?
Not often I can get Councillor Swykstra speechless, so.
Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. This one will be tough to get through without Bill here, but we've got excavator licenses on page 101. Looking for a motion to approve. Councillor Siemens, second by
On behalf
On behalf of
Councillor Bill Hebert.
Councillor Penner. Any comments? Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. We are at council question period. Are there any questions of council? Okay. We've got correspondence and petitions. We've got the 11A, Epp Library. This is the minutes of December 10th, 2025. Council, would you like to proceed? Take as information?
Please.
Okay. And we've got 11B, this is a letter from Carol Somerville, a request for signage. Council, whether we do this, we'll take it as information, whether we do any signage or not, one thing I do want to ask Deputy Mayor, Council Michael Swaystra, we are meeting with the RCMP advisory. I'm thinking there maybe needs to be a little bit of policing done on this street if there's that kind of speeds and that kind of pedestrian traffic there.
Yep, we can add it to the agenda. We have a meeting tomorrow, so.
Okay,
yep.
good. Then, Council Swaystra will take this up with our RCMP advisory and try and get some feedback from them and see if there's something we can do with a little bit of patrolling or policing in that area. Otherwise, take it as information at this time. Okay, thank you. We'll take it as information. There's no other business. Looking for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Pinner, second by Councillor Hebert. Call for the question. All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Next regular council meeting is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026 at 7:30.